Okay, we've talked about the best horror movies of 2019. Now it's time to dig into the crap, the worst. Let's do this. What's up, guys? It's time to do another top 10. This is going to be a really fun one. We're going to do the worst horror movies of the year. And keep this in mind, I do avoid really bad horror movies, or just movies in general. So there's a good chance that your least favorite movie might not be on this list because I haven't seen it. And if I haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to put it on the list. Sorry. I have to see the movie. I got to give every movie a fair shake, all right? So know that going into this. And I'm going to give you an honorable mention for this one. I didn't give you an honorable mention for the last one. I only saw like 21 or 22 horror movies this year. So all of them are going to be pretty much on the top and the bottom list. But this is one that's an honorable mention, and it's 47 Meters Down Uncaged. And this is a movie that I actually liked, but it just didn't make the top 10. So I wanted to mention it here because there's some fun to be had with this movie. See, you might see some good movies on a bad list. It's definitely flawed, though, and the acting's shit. But there's one scene in the movie that I absolutely loved when they think they're safe and they're in the middle of this like cave, water. I can't talk, but the shark comes up and eats the guy like mid-sentence, and that scene was so freaking funny. I laughed out loud in the theater. Now, let's get down to my 10 worst movies. We're gonna go with number 10. You guys are gonna hate some of these selections too. You're not gonna hate the movie. You're gonna hate me for putting it on here because some of these, wow. Anyway, number 10. A lot of you like this movie. You're gonna freaking throw tomatoes at me. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It's a very well-made movie, but for me, it was just kind of blah. I didn't get into it for some reason. The big thing that I did like about it, though, was I did like the scarecrow scene. I thought the scarecrow scene was the best scene in the movie. Harold was creepy. I liked that. It's not a bad movie. I'm just saying it just wasn't my cup of tea. I couldn't get into it. Which brings me to my number 9, another movie that I just could not get into, Dr. Sleep. You hate me now. You're probably turning this off. But I just could not get into Dr. Sleep. And I think it's because I had just watched The Shining. I know you don't want to make the same movie twice. I get that. But make 2 good movies. And to me, this wasn't a good movie. And these gypsy, I know they're not humans, but these gypsy villains or whatever, I think when the villain is like a structure or a house that, really the villain's you are your own worst enemy, like in The Shining, where Jack just goes crazy. That's what I loved about The Shining. This one, it had some fun moments in it, I will give it that, but overall, I just didn't care for it. It just didn't feel as interesting. But I've only seen it once. I'm not against giving it another try. I am curious to give Dr. Sleep one more try. I will say that. Number 8. It Chapter 2 surprised me because I loved the first It movie with the kids. But like the TV show, this one suffers from the same problems. When you get to the adult portion of the movie, it's not as good, but I think even more so, the movie just felt way too long, and the last act wasn't nearly as impactful as the last act in the previous movie. I think all the good stuff had already been used up. There is that one scene in the beginning when Pennywise scares the young girl at the baseball game. And again, it's when Pennywise scares kids, that's when he works the best. But some fun moments in the movie, I'll give it that. It's still like, I think it was a solid like 3 out of 5 for me. But it makes this list. You catching a theme here? We're gonna get into the crap, the like biggest crap of the crap until like probably the bottom 5, okay? I don't hate every movie on this list. If I could interject, I was editing and I realized I didn't even put number 7 on the list, and I don't want an incomplete list, so I'm shaving a little bit, background's a little bit different, so don't be alarmed. Anyway, number 7 is Pet Sematary. This was probably one of my biggest disappointments of the year, just because I love the original so much, and the new one did show promise. Just visually it looked interesting, but the trailer completely screwed up everything by telling the audience exactly what the twist was at the ending. And I'm not going to rate the movie based on the trailer, but it's shocking that they gave that away in the trailer. So why did I still dislike the movie? Because the execution, it wasn't that good. Everything about this movie was done better in the original. The twist I liked, but the execution of the twist I thought was pretty damn lackluster actually, which was sad. So much promise, so many mistakes put the Pet Sematary remake on this list. It's just another example of another forgettable remake in the can. Oh, and by the way, it's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas. Number 6 was one that was just a cliche horror movie countdown. One of those movies that you'll watch it and then you leave the theater and in 2 days you've already forgot it. It's out of your memory just because it's an interesting premise, but really overall this type of movie has been done quite a few times before. Yeah, but it's just another one of those horror movies that I just didn't really care about any of the characters. Some stupid decisions were made. You're throwing stuff at the screen, but at the end of the day, you have a decent time. It's okay. Nothing special though. As a matter of fact, I didn't even review Countdown just because I was so bogged down with other reviews at the time and videos that I just didn't care to review it. It just wasn't that great. I didn't even feel interested in talking about the movie. Which brings me to another movie that I completely forgot about, The Prodigy. I think I did review The Prodigy. I do like evil children types of movies, and this one did have a couple of interesting scenes, especially at the end. But overall, I just didn't think this one went for it. You know, as far as like how far an evil child can go. It made me think of the movie Orphan. That movie delivered in spades. I mean, that movie was creepy as hell, but more importantly, the child in the movie was like almost a horror icon by the time I was done with it. You know, and it just had this build to it. It was great. Whereas this movie, I forgot about it in T-minus 5 seconds after. Number 4. Way back in January, one of the first movies I saw and reviewed, I think it was the first, was Escape Room. And you know about these kids who meet at this room and they go into all these different escape rooms. But this one was one of those movies that it suffered from like a weak script, weak characters. I couldn't get invested in what was going on, and there were a few moments in the movie I was just like, no, that's stupid, that wouldn't happen. And then I remember hating the end of the movie, how it all unfolded, and there was this like evil person behind the curtain, kind of like Wizard of Oz, you know, orchestrating everything, which would happen, but I just didn't like the way it all unveiled on screen. I don't know, I just didn't care. Number 3, I do like the Conjuring universe, but there are a few movies that are just not that good. The Curse of La Llorona was one of those. I thought that this was another movie that was just more of the same, because not just the Conjuring universe, but these types of movies in general. It's like they go for the same types of scares over and over, and they're not as creative. I was just watching Annabelle Creation again. That one's actually pretty damn creative. But this one, it was the same jump scare type stuff with the CGI demon. Kind of like what The Nun did. I hated The Nun. And I didn't really hate this movie, but I definitely didn't like it. It was just so forgettable. Number 2, this is an interesting one to discuss. Happy Death Day to You. And the reason I put this on the list is because this is not a horror movie at all. It's a comedy, pretty much. You know, there is like a slasher element, I think, at the very beginning and at the very end. And the reveal in this movie doesn't even matter. It's so forgettable at the end. You don't even care who the killer is. It's a comedy. And to me, I wasn't even laughing at it. The only thing I will give this franchise is Jessica Rothe. I think she's a great actress. And I think she would be awesome in an actual bona fide horror movie. Please make that happen. But I'm just not on board for these Happy Death Day movies. I know some of you guys like them. I was pissed off after I walked out of this movie because, you know, you go into a movie with a certain mindset. After watching the first movie, which had a little bit of a slasher element, when I saw the trailer for this movie, I thought, okay, they're actually going to explore the slasher part of this even more. There could be more killers. This could be awesome. And then it was the opposite. There was almost no killing throughout the middle of the movie. And then number 1, this complete piece of shit of a movie, Black Christmas. Oh my God. When you take a cherished property like the original Black Christmas and you take away one of the greatest killers ever put to film, Billy, and replace him with this freaking black blood cult frat boy douchebag group, and then the whole movie, 95% of the movie is just a strong woman agenda, which in the horror genre there are so many examples of strong women, and it never gets in the way, and that's the problem. Everything gets in the way of this movie. The agenda gets in the way of the movie. I love strong women in movies, guys. I really, really do. But this movie just went way too far, putting it in your face, and it didn't focus on the actual plot of the movie. And I'm not telling you guys anything new. I saw all the reviews on this after I reviewed it, and pretty much everybody, for the most part, agreed this went way too far. And two things happened. It did nothing for the movement, and it did nothing for horror in general. And a really bad thing happened is that now we'll probably never get another Black Christmas movie. Or if we do, it'll be for a decade at least. And I love the first movie so much, and I would be curious to see what they could do with a property like Black Christmas. Explore, that character Billy. Make some sequels. I'm for it. But this movie just completely shit on everything that was great about Black Christmas. So anyway, guys, that's my top 10 worst horror movies of the year. Let me know in the comments your least favorite movies. I know I'm going to get some eggs thrown at me for some of these, but hey, it's my list. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays, we do free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.